Waiting for your guy. Get in there.
You want to call him?
Sure.
Okay.
As we about to ready to get started here, this. Oh, here he's in there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
Hey, you just logged in?
I know.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
That's what I was checking.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, no problem, thanks.
Will they hear it if my volume is on? Does that make a difference?
I think we just I have to mute Jordan's volume. I have to mute Jordan's volume.
No, I know that, but my volume is off, but I'm muted because when my volume is on, you can hear this.
No, turn yours down.
Okay.
Because you're going to, or you can mute yours.
It is muted. Even my set is on.
Oh. Jordan, how you doing?
Is my mic on? Is it working?
Yep, you got your mics working. Okay.
Perfect. I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing well. We're sitting here at one of the D.L. Horton houses, and today I wanted to do a live feed for those that's looking at potentially doing like new construction. And so, for those out there that's watching this feed, we got Alex Barnett, and he's one of the builder reps for D.L. Horton, and then obviously we have Jordan Matheson. Is that correct? Martinson.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jordan
Yep.
Martinson.
Yep.
And he's a lender that basically does all the lending for D.L. Horton. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you got it.
And so today's conversation is this kind of I guess an open dialogue. What we want to do is we want to let the consumer know how easy it is to get into a D.L. Horton house. And D.L. Horton is one of the builders that, have a little bit easier path for ownership than other builders. Would y'all say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. There's a couple of major things that make us kind of stand out. So
Sure.
yeah.
And so we're sitting here today at one of the listings, and we got Deidre. She's going to walk around. She's going to do a little bit of a tour of this place, just to kind of give you an idea of what some of these builds are for D.L. Horton. All of this stuff comes with the house. Is that right? Besides the furniture.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Furniture and decorations don't come with the home, and that's one of the reasons too why we are a bit more first-time home buyer friendly. Is pretty much everything that you see in our homes comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
That we show, that we stage in the models. The only caveat to that is going to be the refrigerator, washer, and dryer. Okay, so some builders don't include any appliances, some include all of them, but we're kind of right in the middle with that. And the reason why is just we want to make sure that the buyer has that choice, right? A lot of people are very particular about what type of appliances they have, and then instead of artificially increasing the purchase price of the house by including them all, we just give you the choice then to buy them with us or to buy them afterwards and get whatever you want.
So hold on, back. Let me ask a question. So when you can buy the house with the appliances already here?
You can, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can add them in, right? So, but for the most part, we're very streamlined, but those are a couple of things that you can add in and kind of customize along the way, which of course is what's very different about buying a new construction home versus a used house or one that's on the existing market. So
Right. And so, Jordan, I have a question for you. So y'all guys have a range from first-time home buyers, move-up buyers, obviously downsizers. And so on the path of home ownership, we know that the move-up buyers and the downsizers, they're selling something to get there. But when you are thinking about the first-time home buyers, what would be the biggest thing that you can provide that'll help it make it a lot easier path for home ownership?
Yeah. I mean, specifically for first-time home buyers, I think the biggest thing that I consistently try to hound on, one thing for like DHI, kind of like to piggyback off Alex there, is we do a significant portion of our business based on first-time home buyers. So as of fiscal year 2025, it was over 40% of our home buyers were actually first-time home buyers, which is obviously a huge percentage. For me, the thing that I kind of hound on most of them is to get in front of a lender early. The things that they can kind of work through when they're given an adequate amount of time. So, you typically run into situations where, you're trying to purchase and close super quick. There's not a lot of time to work up, kind of prepare the file and prepare the buyers to kind of, here's what the underwriters are going to look for. Here's kind of a timeline of how things are going to work. So I always say the earlier you get in front of them,
You lost a little
the earlier you
connectivity.
can make things happen, right? Because, if they can identify red flags up front.
Double taxing your screen.
Okay, there you go. Yep, you back.
Can you guys hear me?
Could you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Hold on, he's checking something with his connection.
Okay.
Seem to have a bit of a glitchy connection all of a sudden. So
Is it good?
yeah, it looks good here. Yep.
Okay, Jordan. Sorry,
Yep.
my friend. You're gonna have to say
No
that
worries.
again because
Yes, no worries.
we just had a little connection issue.
Okay. Yeah. Specifically for first-time homebuyers, kind of like I was mentioning, DHI Mortgage, a significant percentage of their business that we did in 2025 was first-time homebuyers. We did over 40% of our business is first-time homebuyers. I think the biggest thing that I kind of always talk about is getting in front of a lender early, right? They can, the earlier you apply, one, it gives you kind of a idea of where your financial situation is, right? Here's what you qualify up to. And then you can kind of work with your lender to say like, okay, well, here's what I qualify up to, but here's where I want my monthly payment to work on. Here's what I have for down payment. We can kind of work back and forth to figure out, hey, here's what you should start to look for. That way you can identify properties before going to view them. Here, hey, I know exactly what to expect, where my monthly payment's going to be. I know I can qualify for that home. And then the other big thing that I always talk about with getting applied early is lenders can identify potential red flags that may come up throughout the process, right? So each individual applicant's credit scenario is going to be different, right? So some people are really straightforward. They have really good credit, don't have, they're first-time home buyers, so they don't have homes to sell. They don't have a lot of credit established. There's, usually not too many things going on with that where pre-qualifications get to be easier, but obviously you have buyers who own other investment properties or are self-employed or have moved throughout the country. There's a bunch of different stuff that kind of getting applied and understanding what the scenario is helps the buyers have an easier process throughout their mortgage application when they decide to pull the trigger.
Oh, okay. I'm back. There you go. Okay, so I think we might have a little bit better internet connection now. Jordan, could you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Deidre, are you able to log back on? Okay, because we can't see nothing you're doing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So, Jordan, last we left, you was talking about, people coming to you right away in the process. And I think that is pretty big. 'Cause a lot of times people like to wait until they think that they're ready, then they get to you, and then you will tell them some things that they have to do, and they still can't get the house.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
is
I
that,
think that's the biggest thing is obviously you don't want to, with it being one of the biggest purchases you'll probably ever make in your life.
yep.
And you're going to have, I mean, it's 30-year commitment typically is what people are going on. And I mean, in that situation, you don't want to jump into something that long-term and that expensive. If one, you don't know necessarily the payments that you're going to be making, the amount of money you need to, or in general, just able to qualify for it, right? Like you don't want to get emotionally attached to a property, try to find yourself cooking in it or putting all like the furniture to make it, a home for yourself. You don't want to start doing that before you actually know that you can purchase it. So I always reiterate, biggest and best idea is to get in front of somebody, a lender up front, just to give you a good idea of where you are at financially. And if you potentially aren't in that sense to be able to qualify for that specific home now, what can they do from now to when to get qualified for that? So
Um, so, so Jordan, is it so? Obviously, us as realtors, we have lenders and stuff like that, and I know that DR Horton is incentivizing us to, promote the lending from you guys, right? And so
mhm.
that's where all the special programs come from is when we use you guys as the lender, correct?
Yes, correct. Typically, I mean, DR Horton, they're very good at understanding how cost savings can help make ownership more affordable, right? So their big thing is trying to find incentives, ways to reduce the gap to make home ownership more affordable, whether that's, giving additional credit to be able to pay closing costs or give you better interest rates below market rates to make those payments more affordable to be able to bridge that gap. So yes, that is a big, big incentive with going with new build is just the different incentives that they have kind of
Right.
going on.
And from my understanding, if they, I know that y'all guys, and I know me, and Alex, we talked about this a lot with like every month y'all guys are running some type of new promotion. And so, like, if I was the consumer out there, I mean, obviously they can call me and they can ask me what the promotions are, but how can we stay on top of those? Because I know every month DR Horton has something new that they're offering, maybe a new community. I mean, I know sometimes the website can be there, but is any other methods?
Yeah, I mean, so one, Alex and all the DR Horton reps, they're very, very good at, outreach and getting to realtors and buyers who they've been prospecting to let them know what current promotions are going on or may change throughout the time in which you've been looking. But other ways, we obviously, if I have knowledge of that person, I will consistently be reaching out to them if there were any changes regarding the interest rate promotions or whatever promotions are going on. Just because,
Mhm.
as things change, it might benefit somebody with with a promotion that was there last week. What changes next week might benefit that buyer more than what was there prior. So, I mean, essentially, online where when you're looking at homes, we list them out there all the time. And then obviously both agents are reaching out and same with our loan officers here at HM Mortgage.
Alex,
So,
did you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so if you get in touch with one of the new home specialists on site at the locations, there's two things. We can reach out to you directly and just update you as well, and then also if you're okay with it, we'll include you on our mailing list. Right,
Oh,
we do have
absolutely.
like a marketing team that will make sure that those get updated. But the caveat with those is they're not always not all of the promotions. If we have promotions at the time, not all of them end up on those marketing emails, right? So the key is to call Cedric and Deidre, right? Because we stay in touch pretty closely. So I would say that's for the buyer who's out there who's not on the market yet, but they might be in February or March. Like your first call should be to Cedric or Deidre or to myself directly, just to make sure that we're getting you the most up-to-date promotion and all of the details about it, because sometimes they'll add little things on that aren't included, that aren't, kind of out there to the public, where you have to come straight to us for the finer details.
So, but Alex, I know we kind of did a couple of things in the past where you'll call me and say, hey, either this is the last one from this bill or from this neighborhood.
Yep.
Or and obviously they want to sell this house, so it's a bigger incentive there.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So basically, what we do is we have one house in the neighborhood that's kind of a featured house for the neighborhood, and oftentimes it gets like they put it on sale, so to speak, right? For whatever reason, right? Sometimes it's the last in that neighborhood, or they want to, it's been on the market maybe a little bit longer for whatever reason, just the seasonality of it or something like that. And so they'll actually reduce the price lower than what they would with the promotions and specials. So, and that's really one of those things where, again, it's really important to connect with Deidre and Cedric, because, or myself, because you're not going to know those finer details. And even like our marketing team doesn't know them, because they're not here on site in this neighborhood all the time, right? Whereas I'm here, I know all the neighborhoods in the area. I'm in all of them every week, and I'm talking to the construction supervisors. And so I really know exactly what's going on with each house, which is why it's key to just reach out and make sure you're getting that most recent, most up-to-date information.
Gotcha. And so, Jordan, let's swing it back to you. What is one of the things that you want the consumer to know about how easy it is to get the financing, and obviously, what are y'all guys looking for these people to have when they see you?
I don't want to necessarily, there's specific things that we're looking for. We're going to, obviously we do the standard stuff. So we're going to take into account, we're going to have a credit pulled. We're going to look at what you guys have for assets, and then just income situation. So typically our pre-approval process is extremely quick. The application takes a few minutes to complete, and then by that time you're already reviewing the file. It is not a very stringent process. We'll ask you to provide basic documentation just to verify what you have for basic earnings. So if you're a W-2 employee, we'd ask for a pay stub, right? If you're self-employed, we'll ask for tax returns. So we don't go, we're not going to really dig into that file. We're going to get kind of the basic information to see kind of where a broad scope you are sitting at. And then we'll get kind of on the phone with buyers to really dig into the details, kind of what makes most sense for them financially. Right.
And so I don't know if I have any more questions for like a potential buyer. I'm just speaking that, if I was a, first-time home buyer, let's talk a little bit about the move-up buyer. Obviously, they might have a house that they have to sell. I know D.L. Horton does a good job with contingencies. And so how would that look in your realm, because they're selling something to get to something else?
Yeah. So typically with those, obviously you're kind of hung up on waiting for contracts to come through on the sale side of that. But other than that, you work up the file essentially the exact same way, right? So you're going to still qualify based on the income that they have and all that stuff. It's just typically when you have somebody who's selling something in order to purchase another thing, you're going to be utilizing the assets or the proceeds that you're going to get from those sales. So that's kind of one big piece we look for. Is really the only difference there is how we're going to get, you essentially just need to wait for that sale to go through. You get the contract to verify that it's going through. So it's a very easy process. Typically with those home buyers, you can get from the time you start an application to get finished, it's fairly quick, a couple of weeks at most. So it's really quick.
And so the only reason I was mentioning that is because I think we're going into a season where we're going to see a lot more people get off the fence and sell a house. And, one of the biggest challenges over the years is that people that have like a 2 or 3% interest rate, they don't want to leave these houses because the interest rate was so good for them. The payment was very affordable, but the caveat is that the space has gotten significantly smaller, and so maybe they might have had a kid or two, maybe had a dog or two. I'm not sure what's going on with them, but I think what some of the rates that's hopefully planning on coming down at some point, we're going to see a lot more activity in that department. So I kind of wanted to talk about that with you because I know that those people are probably looking and saying, you know what, if the rates are at 5% or 6%, maybe new construction might be at 5% or 4.99 or something like that. And so I want to get those folks to feel comfortable because obviously they don't want to leave for that interest rate, but I'm trying to get them over that interest rate talk. And so that's the reason why I wanted you to share a little bit about that. And hopefully I can be able to pass this video on to them and show them, like, you don't have to stay stuck in that same home, especially if, the family's bigger, the kids are bigger, everybody's bumping and thumping in the house, and you in a 2-bedroom with 4 kids, it's probably time to move on. Maybe they come into a D.L. Horton situation where, new construction, you have a 3 or 4% interest rate. I'm not sure what it is now. And, you'd be able to have special incentives and be able to work with a guy like Alex and be able to work with you, Jordan, and, they'd be able to get in something nice.
Yeah. Kind of like what you said, you're totally bang on there with, buyers at that time, they kind of have the golden handcuff, right? So like they got in kind of at the perfect time where rates were unheard of at that point. You're seeing people at 2.875 rates. And when they were looking at the market and they were seeing, 7% the last couple months, the last couple years, it really hindered them. They're like, well, it doesn't make much sense for us to move out of our 2% interest to go into a 7% interest.
Right.
So like you said, a lot of people, their families grew, they're outgrowing their house, but they can't move out of the payment, rightfully so. And that's kind of where D.R. Horton hops in. Because like I said, we're offering incentives to buy those interest rate down. I mean, we're a whole percentage below the market right now, which obviously helps bridge that difference between that super low interest rate and where the markets are at. So it kind of gives them that little bridge to here's where the rates are still below where you're at market wise. And like you said, rates hopefully are going to be coming down here in the next year or so. Just with kind of where feds are sitting at. And at that point, you're even looking at, once say you sell that 2.875 rate, move into a new brand new home, you're going to still get our promotional interest rate. And then if you do have that offset of, hey, rates are coming down, you do have the ability to always refinance into those lower rates, kind of like what most of them did to get those initial rates that they're at.
And so you sparked the question. So if the rates are at, let's just say 5%, or 4.99 right now, can they buy it down further? So a lot of times, when they having these questions about rates and, we're going down the motions, I think a lot of people don't understand that you can probably potentially buy that rate down.
100%. Yeah, you can buy your rate down. So depending on like where the market currently sits at for that day, there's usually a threshold in which how far you can buy the rate down to. You do have the ability to buy it extremely far down. I think today on a conventional 30-year fix, you can buy that rate down all the way to like 4.625 on a 30-year fix. So, I mean, you have the ability to buy it down. Obviously, the cost to buy it down does incrementally increase as you're going further and further below the rate, but you do have the ability to utilize funds in order to buy the interest rate down to find that rate that you're potentially comfortable with.
Gotcha.
So that is definitely an option.
One thing too, I would mention about move-up buyers, right? Because you're absolutely right. A lot of them get really focused in on, well, this is the mortgage rate I have, and can I afford to get the house that I want and need because of the interest rate increase. And when I would tell a lot of those buyers too is not to focus so much on the mortgage, because that's just one small aspect of the big picture, right? And sometimes it's important to zoom out and look at the whole thing long term, because if these folks are living in a house with a great interest rate, but it's small and it's older, it's not going to appreciate as much long term as a new construction house will over the next 10 or more years, right? So there's a good likelihood that some of those buyers are going to end up staying in that house because they get cold feet about moving up. But the reality is they're selling themselves short for the big equity, savings that they're going to get in the long run, right? And then even stepping back further than that is I call them micro stresses, right? We live in these older houses that have the long honeydew lists, or they're too tight, so the kids are stepping on each other and the toys are everywhere, right? And these little stresses every single day, they wear us down over time. And so the reality is if you can move up even to just one step bigger, right? Like a 4-bedroom townhouse, it's maybe 500 square feet bigger than your current townhouse, right? Or you get into the bigger home, that's going to reduce those daily little micro stresses, and I would tell you, it always alleviates it so much more. Who knows what the potential can come from? The mortgage rates that we had 4 or 5 years ago, that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing, right? But at the same time, it's definitely not everything. So.
I think that we're not going to. I guess we got to live in a real world, and if we are sitting in a space that we can't enjoy ourselves, even if it is, let's say, much cheaper to live there, how much of a quality of life are you planning on having like that?
Yeah. Yep.
When the kids are, like once my kids got the bumping and thumping, it was time for us to leave. And regardless of what the race was, I just was like, I don't want to hear it no more. Yeah. Versus, trying to save the money and, watching them run over each other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there's we've all heard the old adage that, you should never spend more than 25 to 33%, right? A quarter to a third of your income on your home, right? That's an old adage that's been around. And I see a lot of people with those small mortgages that they're spending like maybe 5-10% of their monthly income, right? It's like you're selling yourself short because your mortgage, your equity, your home is a built-in savings account for your for the long term. And so it's super wise actually to increase that because you're getting you're getting the house that you want, but then you're also building equity that's a long-term savings account that's going to continue to grow, and it's super stable as far as investments go, right? So
no, absolutely. And I feel like you brought up a great point. Because I just look at it as you're just moving your equity from the old house to the new house.
Yeah,
I mean
that's exactly what it is.
Now your new house has the same amount of equity. Minus the little things here and there, but you have the same amount of equity.
Absolutely.
But you got the house that fits your guys' needs.
Yep.
And I think that's the reason why we wanted to come and do this live today, because we wanted to showcase, hey, moving in a new construction home is not that hard.
Right.
Right. They might think like, oh, we don't, sometimes when you hear the people talk, they don't want to build because they think they got to pick out every color of the house. They got to pick out the faucets, the tiles and all that stuff, and it can get overwhelming. But, D.R. Horton, you just come in here and you just move in because they already have all the choices picked for you.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a whole, like if you were to do a custom built home, that's a whole project. That's a whole thing. It's like a full-time job all in and of itself.
Pretty much.
And so, and that's not for everybody, right? And it's also gets very expensive very quickly to do a lot of stuff and everybody that I've talked to, because I did for the backstory here is I did resale for 5 years as well before I came over to new construction. And I heard more than once from people custom designed and built a home, and then as soon as they moved in, they were like, you know what, I wish we would have done this different. So what D.R. Horton offers that's unique to custom builders and unique to pretty much any other builder too is just we're doing really tried and true homes, right? We're taking all the feedback, we're putting into them everything that people are asking for, and so we're taking a lot of that stress out of the buying process, the choosing process. The majority of the homes that folks are buying from us, that people are moving into, are under construction already when they make the decision. So they're seeing the house, or at least a home that's extremely similar to it, before they move in. And then again, too, you're not picking out the layout yourself and moving things around. You're working with a huge team of designers and architects that have thought through and planned this out, and we've done this again and again, right? So not only is it streamlined from that version, you're going to end up with a better house in the long run, but it's also going to be a lot more affordable too, because again, D.R. Horton's a big builder, and so we have a lot of resources and assets that we can play into that, and you get a really, really much better home in the long run. Mr. Horton, his whole mission, right, is to build the highest quality house possible for as affordably as possible. And so we've really been able to kind of hit that sweet spot in today's market ultimately.
And then plus, obviously we here at New Construction Home, one of the biggest things that we always talk about when we tour in previously constructed homes is the big ticket items.
Yeah.
The windows, the roof, the furnace, air conditioner, all these things that, will cost these folks money.
Yep.
And so when you look at like the cost of putting that money into something like that versus, walking into a situation, everything is brand new.
Yes.
You don't have to think about how old is the roof. There's no seller's report.
Yeah.
Because it's already done. So, that's one of the things that I'll be really, really trying to, encourage people to look into is these new construction homes.
Yeah, absolutely. Zero honey-do list, right? Besides maybe painting it, making it yours, right? Putting your own mark on it, so to speak, right? Yeah,
just moving your furniture,
moving your furniture, right? But there's no reason to be concerned about the roof. There's no reason to be concerned about the furnace, right? We've got really everything is brand new. And again, too, we have this incredible warranty system. And the warranty system, the warranty program that we have, it's really twofold, right? Because if we have something that's becoming problematic that we're hearing from in that warranty, we eliminate it, right? We look for a more reliable product to put in our homes. And so what you see that as far as all of the items that we put in, they're tried and true, right? We're using that to make sure that that the homes don't have issues, right? But then, of course, D.R. Horton, after 47 years of building homes, we've learned that there's no such thing as a truly perfect house, and that's why that warranty is in place. We make it super easy to use, and so you have that peace of mind for a really long time.
So that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to talk on that briefly.
Sure.
Because sometimes, the fear is, I move into a house and, even if I do got the warranty, it takes so long for these folks to come and fix these problems and stuff like that. You kind of hear that type of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit on that.
Yeah. So I know for a fact, right, from personal experience in the previous half of my career, but some of the builders, if you make a warranty claim, you're literally calling a call center in a different state, or you're sending in an email randomly, and then there's just kind of this open-ended waiting time as far as like how quickly am I going to get a response? Am I going to get people out here? And our warranty team is run locally, and this is actually the same for every division throughout the country, right? So here in Minnesota, our warranty team works out of Minnesota, where they're based here in Lakeville, and so it's really easy to utilize that. You go online, you register it, you'll get an email confirmation right away, and then they will reach out to you personally within 2 business days, right? That is the standard, and most of the time it's sooner than that too, actually.
And just to touch on that or add to that, at least they know what our problems are because they're locally.
Exactly.
Instead of having somebody that's in Arizona, and they don't understand the pains that we have with these winters.
Yes, that's exactly right. Right. So Dara, who kind of heads up our warranty department, she's local, right? So and she dispatches directly with the contractors who are also based in Minnesota, right? So you've got, whatever the issue might be, right? And you'd be surprised how few we actually have. You're usually going to get people out there pretty quickly and who are experienced. They know, I know exactly what you're talking about because I also live in Minnesota. So we're aware that like this weekend it's 20 below zero. So.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Yeah.
And for those that's watching this video that's outside of Minnesota, don't fear the cold. You can come on in.
Yeah.
We only gonna have 1 or 2 days of this nonsense.
Yep.
So we're talking about it now, but I don't want people to be like, it's always below zero there. Yeah. And so just wrapping it up, guys. Jordan, did you have anything that you wanted to add? I know you said quite a bit, and for the listener out there that's considering this move, whether they're first time or move up or move down buyer, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah. DHI Mortgages prides itself on, making the process as smooth as possible, being in touch and kind of in line with the buyer step for step throughout the whole process. Kind of what I wanted to kind of finish on is kind of bring that full circle. That's D.R. Horton's big practice, right? They want to be as efficient as possible while offering the best customer service, which we are allowed here specifically in Minnesota. Not all markets have this, but in Minnesota, we're a one-stop shop. So everything done here is in-house. So we have from our builder to our title company to our mortgage company, we're all in the same building, right? So when there's an update from the builder side, title and mortgage know immediately on it. When there's an update from the mortgage side, same goes for the other two groups. There's never a time in which there's any miscommunication. There's no delays. So that's a big thing that we pride ourselves on, is making the overall experience for our customers while they're in that process to make it an enjoyable experience. Because we know it is, like you said, it is going to be one of the, if not the biggest purchase you'll probably ever make in your life. So.
Right. Yeah. And I think I was going to add something to that. I'm trying to think what I was going to mention to you about that. You said something about them being everybody's in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. So what about like, so y'all guys got some pre-existing homes. So already spec homes already built, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So for some people, how fast can we get this from start to finish? Let's say if they have 2 weeks to move into a new house, or, you know, they got some type of crazy deadline. How fast can we do this?
DHI, we could move mountains. I mean, legally speaking, the absolute quickest you can finish a mortgage is going to be 7 days, just with state and federal guidelines needing to send out loan estimates and giving them time to view it. Same with closing disclosures. So the absolute minimum you're going to be looking at is 7 days. Obviously, it's fairly quick.
Everything has to go perfect.
Yeah. Quickest I've ever done one is 10 days. So, and that's from somebody moving across the country to Minnesota. So there's just a lot of moving parts. But like I said, with everything being in-house, we are just able to be so much more efficient and get these things done for these customers that really need to have things happen. So
I'm glad you said that, because for those that's listening out there, here it is. You know, if y'all guys have a tight situation, y'all lease is up, y'all got to move, you know, quickly, you know, they can get you into a house in basically 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It fully moved in. And so,
yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say, and it's hassle free, right? So especially if you're up against a deadline, I know when I was in resale, like every time I'd take a buyer out to a used house, there was always a lot of big question marks, right? And used homes, that's right for some people, but there's always a lot of bigger question marks with it, of like, okay, we're going to send this offer over and we'll see if we hear back from the realtor today or tomorrow or maybe on Monday, right? Or whatever it may be. And then they might not accept it. And then we're back out looking at houses again, right? Whereas with D.R. Horton, it is a lot more reliable. You kind of know exactly what to expect. It's really, truly hassle-free. You walk into the door, we show you a model that is almost exactly the same as the actual house, if not, you know, just like it. And then, you know, especially the new home specialist that's on site, you know, me specifically in this neighborhood, in this part of the Twin Cities, like I can tell you exactly what the process is going to be like. I can tell you exactly how much time, and it's reliable. And there's none of those big question marks. It's just like, hey, this is exactly what to expect throughout the process. So it's really hassle-free. It's really there's a major amount of convenience with it, and it's not more expensive just because it's new, right? That's a major misconception I think that a lot of people have too. So
right, and Alex, don't get me wrong. You can basically be a rep for any of the houses in the metro.
Yes, yeah, yep. So
Okay.
I can help you guys. Me and Cedric can help you with any home in the Twin Cities that's a D.R. Horton home, right? Gotcha. So if you're, you know, I work in the Northwest Metro, so if you're looking for homes around the Maple Grove area, Rogers, Dayton, you know, out to Otsego, St. Michael, like all of that stuff is like my backyard, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that I can't help you with homes in Shakopee, right? Jordan, Cedric, and myself, we can help you with homes down in Rosemont, right? We've got a community coming up in Elko New Market, right? So we're all over the place, and I pride myself on knowing everything that's going on in every neighborhood in the Twin Cities. So if I don't have the answer for you, I'll track it down very quickly, probably quicker than anybody else would be able to find it for you. So just give us a call, give Cedric a call, and we'll find you guys the right place. So.
Perfect, guys. I don't think I have any more questions. I think we pretty much solved a lot of the challenges for some of these buyers out here that's looking around. I mean, obviously, we're going to get into this spring market, and that's going to make people more inquisitive about what's going on.
For sure, yeah.
And so if y'all guys are sitting here, y'all watching this video, you know, you can obviously DM me, and we can be able to talk about how we can get you into one of these D.R. Horton homes. We can go take some tours. They got a lot of different models for different stages of people's lives, whether it's first-time home buyer, move-up buyer, or a downsizer. They have a lot of different locations in the Twin Cities, whether it's north, south, east, or west. So they have something for everyone. We just got to put together a plan. I'm gonna introduce our guys to Jordan. Jordan's gonna knock it out of the park, and
That's true.
and we'll get you into one of these houses. I mean, I guess as soon as 14 days, if not 30, for sure.
For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
All right, guys, I definitely appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see you guys on the next live.
Sounds good.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.